Just want highlights. It's like, no, I don't have sex with you. I just want highlights. Don't get it twisted.
Anyways, we're live, by the way.
Hello and welcome to Bleed. This is the show about advertising and more with myself, Ryan Whyte. We've got Jacque Moodley in the house.
What up?
And Siya Tyali.
How you doing?
Got that right.
Yeah.
So, who am I? I'm Ryan Whyte. I'm a graduate of the AAA School of Advertising, where I studied visual communication and specialized in graphic design. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm a freelance graphic designer.
Nice.
Then we're going to talk about why the show is called Bleed. I don't know, let's just get through it quickly.
Because like a menstrual cycle,
Okay.
advertising goes through these periods of complete discomfort and agony.
Okay,
And
gotcha.
sometimes it's cool.
Okay.
So I think that's what's called bleed. Maybe I'm wrong.
Okay. Is that why? Okay. Sorry, you fucking. You killed me with the menstrual cycle. Okay.
I can tell he wasn't expecting that.
Okay, but as someone who doesn't know about like the concept of bleed, I don't know if you've seen the show. Like, if you had to see this, what would it mean to you?
Are you one of us 17
Yeah,
subscribers?
exactly.
No.
Fuck. Well,
Yeah.
I don't even know why you're here.
Because now I'll tell other people and then you'll have like at least 36 subscribers.
There we go. 36 is a good number.
Yeah.
The same amount of tomatoes in a.
I love the way you say 36. 36.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, look at advertising.
Yeah, there you go.
This is what I'm saying. Teaching us everything, every day. So if I didn't know what it was about, actually I would have just assumed because you guys call it an advertising show that it was about like when you're talking about bleeds in advertising when you're a designer.
Go, yes. Fantastic. You've got to make sure the artwork's flash and it looks
Yes,
nice.
looks nice. Yeah,
Okay.
but I'm gonna tell you the menstrual cycle thing is way better explanation.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, some people were thinking, like, is it kickboxing? Is it about vampires? You know, so it's not about that.
Could be, you never know. Advertising takes strange journeys, guys.
It's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Okay. So then, let's do some...
But advertising vampires.
Right? Ad pies.
Ad pies, just
Ad pies. Just sucking the soul out of young creators and hiding the sausage.
Okay. So, oh, that is actually that's a shiftalia, is that Greek sausage.
What?
Yeah, anyways.
Shift to the air.
Shiftalia. Anyways, so...
you know what? It's actually just put a pin in this idea of advertising vampires because I love it. It's very Taika Waititi.
Yeah.
And
Ooh, I like
I can already see it about them trying to put the positive spin on the vampire image.
Right? I actually want to write a book, like a children's book. I'm
Yeah.
still going to do it, so like, don't steal my idea. But it's called Grandpire.
Yeah.
Right? She's a vampire, but she's also a granny. And she has false teeth that she has to take out and bite people. So sometimes they get lodged in like
Yeah.
victims. But she's like really sweet, so she offers them like a candy after she sucks their blood. I'm still working on the concept, but like Grandpire is the thing. Patented.
Yeah,
TM.
TM, R, registered, whatever, all those things.
Yeah,
You can just also edit it out so that people don't know.
that's true.
No, keep it. Keep
I want to keep it in so then if someone does it, I can sue.
Ah, there we go.
And you can be like,
Today
here's
is
the proof.
the 28th of November, 2020 at 11:43. Just
When you mentioned vampires in the South African context, you always think of Trevor Noah's vernacular. Do you guys know
Yes.
Yeah.
bite me.
Yes.
It's a lot to bite me.
that? Okay. Anyways, so I'll just get into like my reasons why I think this show is cool. It's because I enjoy spending time with creative people such as yourselves, and yeah, have a beer, have a cup of coffee, and just talk some shit. So that's me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why are you here?
I just really like the look of Siya and I wanted to get him there. So
Okay.
we set up this entire show, shot several episodes just to get him on this couch so I could hang out with him. Because we
Sick.
worked
Yes.
together before, but we never hung out. So this
Yeah.
is my reason for hanging out.
Okay. Now that we've heard all these people speak, I should actually introduce who you guys are,
Oh yeah.
right? So we've got Jacque Moodley in the house,
Yeah.
aka Falcone.
Yo.
Also, art director,
Mm.
rapper,
Mm.
beat maker.
Mm.
What else?
Baby daddy.
Baby
Yeah,
daddy.
don't forget
So
baby daddy.
You know it works, ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah. Probably.
Speaking of way better friends, we've got Siya Tyali in the house. How's that segue though?
Yeah, right?
It was horrible.
Oh, doing the moves, bro.
AKA the gifter. I've got written here.
Love gifts, man.
Yeah,
Gifts are like a whole new language.
that's true.
It is.
Gifter or giffer?
Gifter.
Gifter.
So like you're using gifts as a
gift.
As a present.
As a present.
The fact that he gives gifts is a gift to everyone else.
But it's not gifts, it's gifts, right?
But
Yeah.
it's gifter.
But you also get drifters and grifters, so you need the T.
But we're talking about animated like stop motion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gifter then.
No, you don't say gifter. No one says gifter.
You're a giffer.
No, bro. It's fine. Rather be a jizzer then.
You be what you want to be.
Yes.
Who am I to tell you what to be?
So no, gifter. Yeah.
Okay, just remember, I need to tell a story about gifting. But anyway.
Yeah.
So I've got written here, conceptualizer, graphic novel enthusiast, creator of things, including conspiracy theories.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you create conspiracy theories
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah.
Me too.
I'm currently working on one.
Nice.
Please, you've already said what day it is anyway. But anyway, it's about 11:40. What now?
6.
46. So 20th of what is it? The 28th.
What
Yeah.
is this on this?
My phone is all. My watch is all over the place, man. Okay. Anyway,
You can tell time, right?
28th of November. My
2020.
current conspiracy theory is that I'm working on is that Steve Jobs never died. They actually put his brain. They actually downloaded all these what do you call those brain waves onto a computer at Apple.
Yeah.
And Siri isn't Siri. It's just
It's Steve Jobs living.
Yeah, learning,
Fuck,
growing.
Like Lawnmower Man
Yeah.
or...
Well, that movie with her. Oh, that movie with Johnny Depp. With Johnny
Demonic
Depp.
Man.
Demonic Man. That's Keanu Reeves.
Transcendence.
Transcendence. Yeah,
It's all fucking same shit.
where he happens to play a fucking Steve Jobs type character
Oh, shit.
whose brain gets downloaded into a thing.
Before you died, right?
Yeah, before he
There
died.
you go.
If we missed anything, a thought, a childhood memory, how will you know who you're dealing with?
Evelyn,
Oh my God.
I can't feel anything.
Sometimes facts are stranger than fiction.
Yeah, dude, I'm telling you, Steve Jobs isn't dead, bro. I mean, if anybody could download somebody's brainwaves into a big supercomputer, it's the people at Apple.
You got an iPhone. What is this?
No, I can't be.
What?
I just want to try a series just like Steve Jobs did and see what the fuck happens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, try it at home, people.
Yeah, just try it at home.
All 14 of you.
Siri will not respond.
Also, I can't believe I remembered Mnemonic Man. What was that?
I think you used to know all the Keanu Reeves movies
That's
because you
true.
see yourself in this
It's true.
character.
Yeah.
Look at Keanu Reeves, right?
Yeah,
A little bit,
Yeah.
you
A
know.
little bit.
and it's a Keanu Reeves resurgence. It's a good time to be alive.
Yeah, dude, you could be John Wick,
Yeah.
17.
Thanks, man. Thanks. Okay, last thing we're going to say about your intro is also you enjoy facts and unattributed quotes.
Yes.
For example, the apple was a metaphor for Eve's bottom, and yes, Adam did eat that apple out.
Yes.
Unknown.
Yes. Unattributed growth.
So what does this mean?
Unattributed growth, bro.
Because that, okay, so if Adam ate that apple out, that means Eve did too. Because
Yes.
she had the first bite, right?
Yeah.
She ate her own ass.
I was just saying, what does it mean?
That,
You know,
What does any of this
coffee.
mean?
what does anything mean?
So you basically, every time you see a booty, that's Adam's apple.
That's Adam's apple.
Unless you see a booty with an Adam's apple.
But then you also get Adam's apples.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. If she's
Yeah.
got an Adam's apple,
Ugh.
don't eat the booty.
Booty.
Okay.
I mean, unless that's a
And
sort of.
that's what you're into.
So the snake that came to bite you,
That was just a metaphor too.
dick.
For his dick.
This interview is great.
This
Wow.
is definitely all staying in. It's
Yeah.
not being edited
It's gonna be
out.
the best.
Okay.
I was gonna
It's
fucking
like-
upload.
It's like layers, bro. It's layers.
Dude, yo.
Okay, so now we can actually continue
Don't
with.
even get me started about parting the Red Sea.
Oh. I think we all know.
Yeah.
It's the stuff.
Desperate times.
Sometimes, sometimes you just gotta hide it.
There goes our Christian subscribers.
The shift to the Okay. So the first question is, what got you interested in being in a creative field? Like growing up, were you good at drawing? What was your outlet?
Not really. Like, listen, man. I like to be completely honest. I grew up in PE, and PE is really small. Like, it's Port Elizabeth. Yeah.
121 or what is the area code?
041.
041!
Shout
Yeah.
out.
So like I didn't even know like advertising could be a career.
Yeah.
Like on the real. So I was like, born and raised in PE, and I didn't know advertising was a thing you could do. Like when the schools that are in PE, people go become lawyers, people become doctors, and shit like that. But I will say I went to university in PE, and then the only reason I got into advertising was because of a girl.
Okay.
Like she was, like literally she was, what was it? She was going to, she had advertising theory as an elective as one of her classes.
Yeah.
And it was like after 5 or something like that shit. And then she had to go to the class, and I was like, fuck it, I'm here. You know, we're having a nice chat, you know. So let me go to this class. And the whole thing was, I sat through this class, and I was immediately just like, okay, I've been sitting around wasting 3 years of my fucking life.
Doing what?
Doing industrial psychology.
Okay.
And funny enough, I did an honors degree straight after because I wasn't sure what to do because I hadn't heard of Red and Yellow, I hadn't heard of AAA, I hadn't heard of any of that shit. So I was like, fuck, how do you get into advertising? So while I figured that out, I might as well do an honors. And I did an honors in industrial psychology. And
Where were you?
At DPE.
Okay.
And I got a fucking offer. I think it's good. We get postgrad offers. So a bunch of businesses come around, and I got a postgrad offer to go work for SAF Marine in Germany and go do, because they take people and they've got these companies of colleges, like Unilever has its own college where you learn the Unilever way or you learn the SAF Marine way and blah blah blah, and they pay you I don't know what year this was. It's probably like 2007 or some shit like that, or maybe 8, and you get paid. I was gonna get paid 20 grand.
That's how they get you.
Yeah.
Indoctrination.
You get paid 20 grand just to study, and they pay for you for your accommodation because you're learning. So the 20 grand is literally.
It's just honest.
Yeah, bro. Yeah, you can go spend it on whatever the fuck. Get some clothes, get some gear in Germany, and I remember also a dude from Red and Yellow, Siken, and he was offering up postgraduate courses at Red and Yellow for marketing.
Yeah.
And then I was like, he was talking about marketing, he was talking about design, he was talking about copywriting, and just showing us the pictures from Red and Yellow and all that shit, and I was just like fascinated. So I was like, fuck it, I'm gonna apply to Red and Yellow as a copywriter. If I make it, I make it. If I don't make it, fuck, about this other thing anyway.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So suffice to say, I got in, but like completely disappointed my parents.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not yourself.
But now older me is now disappointed. Younger me was the jazz. It's like, yeah, advertising. But
You stayed for the girl, didn't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
But older me is now looking at it like, fuck me, dude, those 20 grand you're gonna get paid. How much would you make? Starting. You'd probably be living in fucking probably Germany now or somewhere. Because once you're in Europe, you're not gonna be like, oh yeah, let me come back.
Yeah.
No, you're earning euros.
Exactly.
I'm disappointed for you.
I know. Thanks.
But you're on this couch now, so
You know what I'm saying?
You made it, man.
Yeah. Oh my god. So that's what got me into advertising, the girl.
So growing up, you weren't like, hey, let me write some poetry.
I mean, I was doing that shit. I was writing poetry. I was actually writing poetry. I was writing some because it's a bit of a short jump from poetry to like writing like hip hop lyrics and shit like that. Yeah. You're like, especially if all you're listening to is like your Jay-Z's, your Nas, your Biggies, or whatever. You're like, oh yeah, cool. And then you like find out, Pac used to write poetry as well.
Yeah, his like rhyming structure was like A-B.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like a sonnet, like a Shakespeare.
Exactly, yeah. So you're like, okay, cool. So I used to do all that shit, but like I said, I never thought this is something you can do for a living.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? And it's not like poets are hanging out at the street corners in PE going, yo man, I made it.
Yeah, that's true. With someone's basement, candlelit.
It's exactly. Fuck that. So it's just like, okay, cool. This is something you can just do on the side or whatever. But like when I realized it's something you can do, like reading all those books and just being interested in graphic novels and reading and actually, that's actually something you can do as a career.
Yeah.
So that was a kind of a shift for me. But
that's really sweet. Like, because I had the same kind of perception towards poetry, where it was like that's something you do during English class and you have to do it and it's boring and it's all done in the olden days and stuff. then I got my first job in advertising and I met like a copywriter.
Yeah.
The first copywriter, I was like, and obviously I studied with him as well, but like I really got to know him, Melt, and he was like, yeah, dude, I write poetry, but you wouldn't expect it because he had like this massive beard. He was into like heavy metal, and
Yeah.
and he always had a girlfriend. And I was like that's why it's like fucking poetry and shit. And then it's kind of like you say, you know, to make that jump to writing hip hop lyrics and stuff. Like back then, I never made that connection.
Yeah.
It's actually really interesting. Like you can be into something that's like old fashioned, but it's actually kind of helps. And so the next question is like, how did you go about it? So you said you started studying it. So what did you just say? Your industrial psych modules? Were you like, cancel all of those? I'm taking what, creative writing?
No, I did start actually I actually took the elective as one of my electives the following year, because I cancelled one of them and then I took that one.
Mm-hmm.
And then I did start doing also creative writing as well, but these are all like electives around the other thing that I'm actually doing, which is industrial psychology, because I still haven't figured out how am I going to do this as a career, and I still haven't heard about Red and Yellow or AAA or whatever, so I'm still like trying to figure it out. And it's also this thing of, because of like literally my parents have never heard of advertising as a career, so it's also this thing of you're kind of going, okay, I want to be in advertising, bro, whatever, you know what I'm saying, we just pay 40 grand, whatever X amount of money for you to get this industrial psychology thing, and there's offers, so what the hell are you talking about? So I kept on doing the industrial psychology thing, but the way I got into it was I went to Red and Yellow, I applied, I got in, and it was always this kind of hurdle of, okay, my parents are like, cool, if you get in, then we'll see. So then I apply, and I get in.
Yeah.
And then it's like, cool, but now it's like, it's a private school, so like, we can't afford, we have to pay, so we can't afford to pay for it. And like, I can't remember how much Red and Yellow was a year back then, but like, it was an excessive amount. Yeah, like,
Advertising schools are fucking
fucking expensive, exactly. So they were like, fuck, we can't afford to pay this. So then I was like, cool, let us go down there at least to Cape Town and talk to these guys and see if they have like a bursary situation. And they were like, no, there's no way they're gonna have a bursary situation because A, your mom is a teacher, your dad is higher up in like the government, in education, in the education system in the government. So you're not a underprivileged kid in technically. So you're maybe previously disadvantaged, but you're not disadvantaged now. Fuck man, your dad drives a Benz. Get the fuck out of here. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, okay, cool. We'll at least go down there and check it out. So then we went down there, and the whole time they're like, fuck it, you know, we're just here. It's like a long weekend vacay, whatever, cool. And we get in there, we go and talk to the administrator there, sweet Irish lady, and she's like, no, like they have a bursary situation, and I qualify. Yeah. So what's the sitch? They'll just reach out to some of their connects, and they'll organize something.
Yeah.
So I was like, boom. Yeah. So then that's actually how I also landed my first job. King James kind of sponsored my bursary.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and then that's how I landed my first job in King James, because obviously, yeah.
Shout out.
Nice. And then from there it was like, now, what was your perception? Were you like, this is cool, this is what I want to do?
You know what, I don't know how, like, I know that I think AAA and Vega are a little different, because I think Vega had some structure to it. Like, had some real structure to it. Like, there were courses and there were like daily, like there were actual classes and things like that, right? There was none of that in Yellow.
Really?
Like, it was a fucking free-for-all, and it was beautiful chaos. Like, it was amazing, because it was like, we had job bags.
Oh, sick.
Like, we had brown fucking job bags, and that's how they taught us. It was just like, create this, do this, then we're gonna critique that. We're not gonna sit here and do classes and tell, because
it's interesting.
Their whole thing is, you can't teach this. You either have it or you don't. And if you don't have it, we'll figure it out real quick, especially because when you're applying, they didn't send you like let's see your matric results or let's see your whatever. They sent you things to do. It was like you had to execute stuff.
Yeah.
So they wanted to like see your copy, see your conceptual thinking, see all that shit. And when you got there, it wasn't the designers and the art directors. They had classes, like drawing classes and fine arts classes, where they learned to hone the actual skill. But the actual conceptualizing stuff, it was just, here's a job back, execute this. We'll critique that. We're not going to give you classes because if you can't, can't be taught.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're just like, it's literally them going, what all you are right now is just a bunch of blunt knives.
Yeah.
Our job is to sharpen you. That's it. Other people are wooden stakes, and we'll figure that out quickly, and then they'll be like let go or whatever. But the knives are gonna be sharp.
It's a crazy business model. Too,
Yeah.
We're gonna get like 100 students, whittle out like 50 of them.
Yeah. That's what happens, hey? From first year to second to third year, then you've got classes of like 12 people.
Yeah.
First year it's like 50. But then, I don't know, maybe that's how they make their money. It's like, make your cash in the first year.
And then
get everyone hopeful. And then like,
and they start whittling down. And then also you want to have the best possible product that you can put output
That's
there.
actually crazy, I never thought of it.
Yeah, the best possible product, because the kids are the product.
It's an advert for you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So the kids are the product that you're advertising. So you push them out at the best you can possibly get them, and then that's how your school gains notoriety as well. Because oh shit, they're from Red Yellow, they're from AAA, they're from whatever.
Do you think that's different to other like tertiary places where, you know, for instance, if you want to study law, like the first year you've got 200 or whatever, and then it slowly whittles down by the time, I suppose when you do your, like not everyone does their honours and masters and stuff, so it kind of does whittle down, but I think it's more apparent with
exactly. I think it's also first year you can kind of, and it's also the weird thing is I don't know if, like, I guess it's the same in all institutions. There's a power dynamic as well, because I think within first year you kind of suss out everyone's gifted, but there's a few people in here who are more gifted than others.
Yes.
Like if you get what I'm saying, and then those people are the ones who are just like hanging out together or like I want to work with them or whatever. It becomes that kind of thing where
like a snobbery almost.
like a snobbery almost, but like almost
Clicks.
like exactly, but like almost like a grungy snobbery, like Nirvana versus everybody else. Like okay, we're all in grunge, but like, let's make sure our albums sell the best because we're the best. Yeah.
Oh, that's interesting. Man.
So I think it's interesting for me just in terms of when I got into it to be there and when I experienced it, and I was like this kind of freedom that I never thought you could experience, and it's a false kind of feeling, because I remember going out and actually working for the first time and being like, this is nothing like Red and Yellow.
Yeah.
Like I was like,
Except for the job bags.
except for the job bags. But like in Red and Yellow, like, we used to like you could literally show up. Like as long as you showed up at a respectable time. But like if you showed up at 10 o'clock in the morning, no one's gonna fucking fight you.
Yes.
Like, so it's like, because there are no lectures.
So maybe that's hangover from old school agency thinking.
Yeah.
Hey, like that's how agencies I imagine were
you're walking
in
in
the
there,
80s and 90s.
Yeah.
It
Go
was
to
like,
the pub.
you know, exactly. Go to the pub, conceptualize, rock up at 10 a.m. with a hangover.
And that's the thing, because remember, like when I was going to Red and Yellow, Brian Saltrip, R.I.P. by the way, was still around. And like Brian Saltrip was, and this is when you couldn't smoke inside, and this was already those laws had already passed. Brian Saltrip would show up with a cigar in his mouth, smoking in the fucking middle of and he's just walking around. And like this was back in the heyday of, these guys were all old school. Like all our they didn't call themselves lecturers, they called themselves facilitators. And all of them were like in their, like these are retired creative directors. And this is what they do now. And so like we'd be sitting there and the guy would just look at your work, crumple it up and throw it in the bin.
Yes, of course.
Like old school.
Old school.
Like we're not gonna spare your feelings here.
Yeah.
I remember we were doing this end of the year thing where it was just like fucking come up with whatever product, come up with a campaign. We're never gonna give you a job back. Think of a product, come up with a campaign.
Sure,
whatever.
we already played it loose.
Yeah. And it was like end of the year because no one was fucking like we were about to leave anyway, and it was like just do it because it's like we have to keep you guys here for longer anyway.
Yeah.
You know? So I remember doing a black label because A, I'm a student, B, black label was the cheapest beer at the time.
So when you say you were doing Black Label, it wasn't a campaign?
It was kind of yeah. I was doing black label, but I was also yeah.
Oh, I could do that.
I could do that. Yeah, I could do this. Because the whole year I hadn't done we hadn't done a beer brand, so I was like, you know what, I can do this.
I'm the target audience.
Yeah. So then we did. The whole thing was the whole idea was, we focused on we really zeroed in on the word label because obviously we didn't want to zero in on the word black, so we just zeroed in on the word label, and we're like, okay, cool. And we started chatting around about it. And we're like, everybody kind of has a label, whether you're a jock or an artist or an artsy person or a zen hipster. Yeah, everyone's got a label, and it's kind of like, and the idea was, you've earned it.
Oh.
And I remember we're setting it up and we're drawing, we're like writing these ideas, and Brian's walking around like, and again it's end of the year, so this is completely normal. Like he's walking around with a teacup in his hand. But it's not tea.
No tea.
Yeah. And
Tequila.
exactly, tequila. And so he's like walking around, he's just checking. He's not saying anything to anybody. He's just walking around, looking and whatever. On his way to Wasfi, who used to be, who was the guy who ran the tuck shop there. And he was just walking around on his way to the tuck shop, and I remember him walking past our little thing. He leans in, looks at all the kind of executions and stuff like that, looks at the copy, and then just gives a and then walks away. And I remember feeling like, yeah, fuck that. Yeah. And no, he didn't say good work, he didn't say anything, it was just like interesting take.
That's actually true, hey? That's how you know you've done like a good job.
Yeah.
You get the little
like,
lot of acceptance.
He's like, okay, interesting take. And I was like, fuck yeah, I'm jazzed. Fuck. I remember it was the first time I ever felt like, yes, they're grading us, right? But the grades don't actually matter. I've always thought, well, now that I've been in the industry for a few years, like I feel like we're running on like an old engine. Like we're like advertising the kind of like the car that you keep rebuilding every single couple of years. People kind of rebuild it, but no one changes the engine. And what I mean by that is like we're still running on the same business model of, you know what, we'll pitch for a client, we'll win the client, we'll hire a bunch of people, and then when the client fucks off, we're gonna figure out a way to get rid of all these people, and then. Hopefully, somebody the people who win who win the clients from us hire those people. Yeah. Like it's that kind of thing, and I'm always concerned. I'm always sitting there going, we're running on that engine and that business model, and I'm sitting there going, so you can tell me that two dudes can create an app in their fucking bedroom or like garage or whatever, and you've got some of the industry's if you're like an Ogilvy, you've got some of the industry's best creatives, best programmers, best developers, whatever. You've got all these digital designers, UX and UI designers. You've got all these people in one room, and the business model you're still working with is, let's wait for a job bag to come in.
I see what you're saying.
Let's wait for a campaign to come in. What does the client want to do? And for me, that's always felt like cool. Even with Proactive, it always felt like Proactive was trying to solve a business problem.
Yeah.
You're not trying to solve a world problem where there's that bigger cash pool of let's solve. Like, do you think somebody who did Uber was thinking, let me solve a business problem? Like they were like, oh, let me solve a world problem, and then I know that the world is gonna buy it. So
everyone has access to transport.
Yeah.
Make it easy.
Yeah.
And not everyone, or some people have cars. But have low income jobs. Let's make more money when you get off your job.
Yeah.
Now you've got another job, but you don't have to go to a fucking place. You can just sit in your car, wait for somebody to call you.
Which is going to benefit society as a whole.
I sit there going. So even your Proactive, people are sitting there going, okay, cool. Also, like this whole vibe of with Proactive, what always hacked me about Proactive was ownership. Like I remember having a mate when I was working at YNR, and he came up with this, it was a Proactive idea for Jeep. And you know how Jeep, they sell cars, but they've got all these auxiliary other like clothing and all this other shit. And he came up with this idea of, what do you call those things? Because I just couldn't know it as a sport, Panama. Bucket hat. Yeah. He came up with this whole idea of like a bucket hat that had a silver net lining, like mesh lining in it. Inside the actual bucket hat. Yeah. And then on top of the bucket hat, he put a one of those drinking tops that you can actually open and close. So then he was like, because people on Jeeps usually go out in the bundis or whatever, and when you get there, the water's kind of contaminated sometimes. So he was like, if you do silver mesh in the hat, and then all you need to do is scoop water up. The silver mesh acts as an antibacterial.
That's insane, yeah.
And then you've got the thing. And then you drink the water.
That's amazing.
And then when you're done drinking the water, guess what happens? You close the thing, you put it on, there's some water that it cools you off.
And he wasn't thinking of the award submission video.
He was at the time. Like, listen, he probably was, and the idea hit him. He probably was, because for creators, you hit the minute you hit a solution, your brain's already going.
Case study.
What's case study
video?
What's case study? Exactly.
It's hot.
I can already be like, oh, okay, we're shooting it. We're gonna charge the client to go shoot it out there, and we're gonna actually do it, and then we're gonna have a weekend where we can spend actually out in the bunnies. You're actually ready, but the thing was, you solved a business problem by solving a world problem, and then also they ended up like I don't remember what deals they cut, but like they ended up making a lot of money. Like Jeep ended up making a lot of money because they did. When they pitched the idea, no, they sold it in America and stuff, and all the, so they ended up making a lot of money off it. And I think I don't know what the deals that YNR cut with him, but YNR ended up making a lot of money off it as well. And I was like, cool, bro, but like, and I'm sitting there going, what did you get though? Yeah. I was like, oh no, like award submission.
Notoriety.
Yeah, notoriety. I think he did. He might have gotten a bonus, but I think he just got a bit of a pay bump and what's this thing? The promise of keep going. He'll be creative director one day. That kind of bullshit. And I sat there going, so these guys made millions of dollars off this idea, and you own 0% of it.
I mean, no Nobel Peace Prize, no.
That's a he came up with like IP.
That's an IP thing. But now for me, that's what I've started noticing. A lot of like advertising agencies are moving towards, yes, we're still doing adverts, yes, we're still doing, but we're also coming up with product. We're also coming up with innovation. We're actually exactly. We're also coming up with, oh yeah, you guys should do this podcast, or you saying to your clients, or you know what, actually, this fits in with like there was Kodak did this whole thing about China, where they kind of Instagram themselves, and they came up with this whole idea of capture those Kodak moments, and their people in their advertising agency came up with that, and the creatives who came up with that, and I'm sitting there going, but how much ownership do you actually get then at the end of the day? Because these guys are making money, aren't you?
Every time you sign a contract, and I've signed enough contracts in my career, there's always like page 6.1.2 is like, any ideas you come up with.
Whether it's after hours, during hours, fucking in your sleep.
It's our idea.
Yeah.
And we own it.
Yeah.
And it's always something that like you have to initial at the bottom of the page, and you get a little bit like, it feels weird, like something in your gut that goes,
they let you know.
There's something wrong about this, but you're like, need that paycheck, man.
Also, it's just like the older you get, though, I think the more that because when you're young, you don't
realize what that means.
You don't realize what it means, but also you don't realize the power of creativity or what you're doing.
Yeah.
And the more you do it, though, the more you realize, and the older you get, the more you sit there going, that clause starts to make you feel more and more uncomfortable because you're just like, dude. some guy who's your mate probably just told you about an app he's doing or whatever. And just in there going, and I'm just giving it away for free.
We had Collie on the show a couple episodes ago, and he works for a bank. And I know, like, you know, even my kid's mom used to work at the same place. And what they would do is they would reward your creativity or your creative ideas for the company. And like they'd give you $1 million, like literally, like whatever ideas. So the guys who came up with e-wallets,
Yes.
$1 million. Whether it's a team or if it's an individual, here's this pool of money. Because they're rewarding you, but they're also buying your IP.
Yeah, they're buying the IP.
They're giving you IP. We gave you $1 million.
Yes.
We own this idea now.
Yes.
So even so you can't have a Vodacom, fucking please call me situation.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
They buy your IP.
Yeah.
And like, the promise of being a creative director and like maybe going to Cannes is great. But if I'm coming up with a fucking multi-million rand idea, then make me a partner.
You know the weird thing is, I think that's the thing though. The idea of being a creative director, or the idea of being an ECU, the idea of Cannes, has started to lose a little bit of its shine to creators, only because ownership has become such a real thing now. Before it was, you needed to be like a huge company like a Coca-Cola or whoever to create these big things. Now it's guys creating apps in their living rooms and they're becoming multi-millionaires and just sitting there going, fuck, I could have done that.
But I was in a status meeting.
Or even I've done something like that, but it was for another client.
Yeah.
And it's a weird it's this kind of what is it? This kind of dichotomy you gotta play with, because I'm sitting there going, because a perfect example of this, and the reason it kind of spins for me is when I was working at Demo, and we came up with an idea for R&B. This is another thing that hacks me off. I'm going on a bit of a, but this is another thing that hacks me off is you come up with a great idea for a client or for the agency. The agency says great, we love it. Then they pitch it to the client. The client says great, we love it, and then they put it on a shelf somewhere.
It does, yeah.
And then you're like, okay.
How can I?
No, I can't. So then you can't.
So who puts it on ice?
So you bought it.
The client bought it. Why did they put it on ice?
Because you know.
Power trip. Why?
Because it's a good idea, but either A, we can't do it right now, or B. But it's one of those things where it's like, but it's
sitting there.
It's sitting there now.
And you could take this to another financial institution, for instance, and.
Dude, we came up with an idea.
I don't know if you want to talk about the idea.
Yeah.
Because IP, right?
Yeah. But, I mean, fuck them. But like.
16 subscribers about to get some heat.
Yeah, dude. But like we came up with this idea, and it was literally just, simply put, it was for really rich assholes who deal only with wealth consultants and like those estate wealth kind of people. Like I'm talking about people who can blow. Like there's this one story about a dude who got divorced, and his response to getting divorced was to buy a bunch of sports cars. Like because he just can.
You must have got a good settlement.
Prenuptial agreement. But the thing was, like, you're kind of sitting there going, cool, these guys trust their wealth manager more than they trust anybody else. Like, they're the kind of people who, you hear the stories about these people who sit and chat to their financial advisor or their wealth manager before they're even talking to their divorce lawyer. So they want to divorce their wife. But they need to figure out how much it's going to cost them first.
Wow.
That's
hectic. Would it be cheaper just to have the affair?
This thing. Yeah.
Like,
keep going, yeah.
Like, would it be cheaper just to have the affair? That kind of vibe. So they trust their. But what was happening was you're getting a guy who's, let's say, a person of color, in their 30s, and they either grew up poor, or they've just recently made their money off either great deals and tenders or whatever.
Yeah.
But now when they get to the wealth management part of it, they're getting given a 6-year-old white dude as their wealth manager. We've got no personal.
Yeah.
Because I've got to trust you with a whole lot of my money. there's got to be some personal
And
connection.
you're not from where I'm from. You don't really get my
You don't-
struggle.
yeah.
I got you.
Exactly, and you also don't really get the amount of people that I'm probably supporting with the money I'm making as well.
Right.
So when you look at my bank account, you go like, oof, there's 30 grand that you just did something with, and you're like, yeah, I have to support some family members. So other people will be like, people who know your background, who know where you're from, they're like, yes,
Makes sense.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Dope.
I get it.
But get it, we're just gonna put that as something that's gonna happen every month, we know. So we're like, okay, well then if Tinder can hook you up with the love of your life, why can't you guys use the same algorithmic kind of thing to actually
Get a financial
advise
advice.
it?
Yeah, like a similar. I mean, we've had a similar
Yeah.
concept for something. Yeah.
So I'm just like, but these algorithms are out there. Once there's a date, all you need is a data point, and then you can use all these data points to create a profile for somebody and go who in our organization best mirrors or matches this profile, and then that's how you do it, and then it's just like
Fucking great. Man.
But I get what you're saying. It's like the idea is not enough. You need the implementation. You need the buy-in. You need the support.
But they've got all this stuff.
Yeah,
They've got all
But
this-
it's all there. But it's the
and they have the money to build
maybe.
it. They have the money to build it, and it's just like, okay, cool, we love this idea, but we'll put it on ice. We'll buy it from you because we love it. It's amazing. Then we'll just put it
And
somewhere on
Maybe
the
it's
shelf.
a Siya thing. They'll be like, if this thing's a success, then you know.
But it also
You're gonna
illustrates
lose
or
people.
highlights issues in their company because they know they don't have enough people hired to talk to the people they want to
Yeah.
target. So that's also
Maybe it's jealousy. Like they didn't come up with it.
But it's a kind of thing where you're sitting there going, though, as a creative person, you're sitting there going, anybody else, if somebody else had come up with this and walked in the door, just as a private creative citizen, walked in the door of a stand-up band, F&B or R&B or whoever else, and said, here's my idea, I had this great idea, I've prototyped it, here you go, but you can buy it from me, but I want partnership, I want X, Y, Z, whatever. That person would walk out of whatever place he sold that idea to $1 million in.
Yeah.
And you just give it away for the promise of being creative director.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the dichotomy of when I say like I feel like advertising is using an old engine is the kids who are going in people who are going into advertising or creative situations now.
Yeah, different mindset.
Different mindset because we've been exposed to Instagram, we've been exposed to Facebook, we've been exposed to all these stories. It's no longer. Not even Steve Jobs was enough. Steve Jobs went to college and then he was 30 by the time he was in his late 20s by the time he was actually starting Apple, doing the things. Now you got kids who are 18 doing shit.
You must also call Steve Jobs by his current name.
No, serious. Sorry. Sorry, by his acronym.
Steve internal retina.
Yeah, you know
It's
what?
face.
Dude.
Listen.
No, definitely. So like, I mean, I remember when Airbnb came out, I was like, let's do an Airbnb, but let's swap apartments. And now they've brought that out. And
Oh, really?
Airbnb's got a thing where it's like, if someone wants to go on holiday where you live, and you want to go on holiday where they live, then you just swap the apartments, and then it's like.
And it's also that there was this whole interesting article about how had your music industry, how it's interesting how the music industry doesn't own any of the music platforms.
Yes.
Because
Like with
Why does it
Spotify.
Spotify, iTunes, because they never made that
Jump.
leap. They never made that logical leap that we need to create a music platform.
Because they own the catalogs.
Yes.
They could make money from just owning the
The
catalogs.
catalogs.
The catalogs are sitting on the shelf.
Yes, but the thing is,
Fuck,
they never thought themselves MySpace. Dude, and I'm not talking about iTunes. I'm not talking about fucking MySpace was there, and people were putting music like Chance the Rapper and everything. He was a MySpace generation, and if you've got artists like Chance the Rapper and all these guys putting out their music on
Free.
MySpace freely,
And you can DM them.
and you can, if you are a music producer or a music executive of any notoriety, and you've heard of this MySpace, that's the other problem of old tech, of old industries looking, going, oh, that's cute, and then going back to nothing's gonna happen with it, and going back, because if you're a music exec and you're sitting there looking at this shit and you're going, oh well, I'm just gonna ignore this, but you, like you said, you own all the catalogs. You could have just gone like, MySpace is doing that, X. Why don't I just start my own MySpace? I already own the original music.
Yeah.
And I can charge people.
Yeah.
And each artist can get their own channel, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
So my whole understanding of advertising, kind of, especially now I'm working on a B2B standpoint, and I'm in conversation,
Yeah.
working B2B advertising, and I'm actually in conversations where I'm sitting in meetings with actual like marketing managed directors, and you'll sit there and you'll have the MD of like ABSA in the meeting, and the conversations are so much more different. These guys it's about money, and it's about ownership, and it's about like they don't really care really. The creative is an auxiliary of it. But what is what is the business application of this? What is the return on investment for this? And like if I've realized anything in the last like 2 years I've been working in demographic or whatever, is the idea that ownership from a creative standpoint has become such an important thing now. Like if you don't own your work, then it's just like then it's just like, what's the point? It's just like now every single time we do a campaign, we do a concept, or we do something else, we get, I don't know if you guys get this in your agencies where people are telling you to tweet or share or
from your own
from your personal account.
No.
People are that's something that's happening.
Why is that?
Because they want to, because obviously
They want to get your ideas.
well, they want to get the what do you call those the what do you call those things? And when the numbers come in,
the views of the data.
the data points, they want to get the views up. So if you share to your friends,
Got you.
and it's all data points that they can send back to the client and go, it doesn't look how successful this campaign was. It doesn't matter that the half the data points are from bought from your friends and your family and whatever. But it's this thing of like, remember like Kevin Hart having this whole when the whole Sony emails hack thing happened, and all these emails came out about how Kevin Hart had pushed back on Sony for asking him to Instagram and tweet from his own personal account about his movies that are coming. And he was like, nah dude, I have like 1 million or 2 million subscribers or whatever, those are my guys. And that's my personal account. That's nothing to do with the contract that we signed, where I've got to do press junkets and I've got to do X, Y, and Z. But none of that has anything to do with my social media. And he was saying that.
And they're like, no, actually it does.
Yeah, no, fuck you, blah, blah, and there was this whole thing. And he was like, no, dude, speak to my lawyer. No, it's not in the contract.
Oh.
Speak to a lawyer.
Do us a favor.
You get to a certain level where you can do that, right? Like
Yes.
we couldn't go to our agency and go, they're like, oh, please tweet the ad we did for whatever.
Yeah.
And go, you can't go, no, fuck you.
Please,
Like, about that race.
Let's go.
Because,
7.
exactly. Because the thing is, like, let's say your agency obviously tweets or uploads on LinkedIn or whatever on Instagram the campaign video that they just did, and they'll literally ask you, can you retweet this? Can you share this? Can you whatever on your account? And then can you ask your friends to do the exact same thing? And it's just like, yeah, but that's my personal stuff.
Yeah.
I come here, I work, I do the things.
Yeah.
But it's like almost now you've become an extension. And so then I feel like it becomes a question of when do the contracts start becoming renegotiated as well, because now you're playing in a whole new. It goes back to the idea of ownership and product creation. You're playing in a whole new field.
Yeah.
Can I tell you a fucked up story real quick?
Yeah.
So I was working in this agency, I'm not going to name names, but I literally worked there for a month, right?
Side note, I've been dropping names all day.
Yeah, no, we've trained ourselves. But anyways, I was working at this agency, it's fine, if we need to blow about it, we will, but for the most, like, we haven't said anything bad. And like, you know, those 16 guys are going to get the juice.
Yeah.
But anyways, I work at this agency, and literally there for a month. Like, I had the worst time. I had the worst traffic manager in the world. Fuck, I hated that one. But anyways, there was this campaign that was happening, and they were like, and you know, like the internal mail goes, and they're like, hey guys, we need some of you guys to post from your social media accounts this thing. And like, you know, they're like, and they targeted specific people, obviously based on different demographics and whatever. So I was one of the guys, right? And they sent me the email.
Because you were into hip hop or?
Because I was exactly. And they were like, That was like the fun thing. So they sent me this thing and they're like, cool, we just need you to send this one email. It's a big corporation. It's a big fucking company, right?
Yeah.
We just need you to just post this image and it's like a burger and chips.
Mm.
And I was like, okay, cool.
Why?
So I was like, okay, cool. Just a post from my Instagram. I don't give a fuck. That's fine. But then then they quickly sent a form where you like fill out. We are allowed to use your likeness and we're allowed to use your Instagram handle and like your image from your Instagram handle and stuff. And I was like,
We
okay,
own you.
signed, right? Because from my understanding, I'm fucking tweeting, I'm Instagramming your post. I'm driving in Lenasia. I'm visiting my family. They're from Lenasia. Lenasia, what up? Represent. And there's like main drive. As you like get off the fucking concrete highway, you get off the N12 and you turn right. And as you're driving, there's like trade routes on your left, which is like our shopping center and Lens. And then as you're driving, there's this massive billboard. As you enter Lens, it's like the Lens billboard. Like you walk in, and there's my fucking face on a billboard from my Instagram handle advertising this burger meal. And I was hacked, dude. I was like, there's nothing I can do. Then like a week later, it's like the World Cup.
Yeah.
And like, there's the match is happening.
Yeah.
And there's a squeeze back.
Yes.
And there's my fucking face.
I'm advertising that burger.
For like a UEFA champ, or like a World Cup, or like a UEFA Champions League
Oh,
final.
fuck. Because they can use your face for forever, whatever now.
So now you're all of a
And I was
sudden an ambassador.
I'm an ambassador, but there's nothing I can do now.
But now that billboard must have been pixelated. This is the designer kicking.
Well, no, it was like burger meal. Shot Falcone.
As endorsed by.
As endorsed by.
It was
Yes.
like Falcone the MC at the time. I was still rapping.
Yes.
Falcone the MC says, "Get this burger meal."
It changed
And there's
his
nothing
life.
I could have done. There's nothing because I signed that fucking thing and I was like, I'm such an idiot.
But imagine that squeeze bit.
I was mad, dude. Somebody was watching the match. Like Facebook was like hitting me up. Hey, I saw you on the screen.
But you were getting you
No,
know.
I got like 3 more followers. I was like, cool. It's
No, I was talking about like you didn't get appearance fees or anything like that, or usage.
No. But that's how the
That's
game.
the thing, yeah.
That's how the game's played. Because now, like I said, we're on a whole new field now.
Mm.
So now, if you're going to be using my image, I should be getting appearance fees. I should be getting the
And we know how much appearance fees are because we
Yes.
shot ads with people. We know like
Featured extra.
we might have got for you. The fucking extras got like 15K for you. You know what I mean?
at home.
We see the back of your fucking head.
We know how the game works, but then we're sitting here going, "Fuck, okay, we're just going."
Yeah,
We're
we're
getting-
part of it now.
we're part of
Got hooked by the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
So yeah, that to wrap that up, but like I think ownership has become a thing, and I'm just like it's such a weird aspect to work in an industry that is creative by definition, but then that kind of says you can be creative
Yeah.
as long as you own everything you
Yeah.
create.
Yeah. But also, yeah, for some reason you don't have the drive to do it for yourself.
Dude,
Right?
dude. Like I remember, like we
Full
were talking earlier about like writing poetry or whatever. Like the drive to go back and just write for yourself is just like it's just gone.
Give
And
music, I'm just like,
yeah,
I've given all my creative, stuff that I've got left.
yeah,
I've given it all today.
yeah.
Now I'm gonna still go and sort of make a beat.
Make a beat.
Or write
Edit
a
this
song.
thing. I'm joking.
Yeah.
But that's actually quite a good segue for the next part, which is like what projects are you involved in, like personal projects,
That's
stuff that you're up to,
Yeah.
graphic novels that you've been reading.
No, I've actually been doing a lot of. I'm trying to get into product design. I'm trying to get into UI UX.
Nice.
Because I want to actually just start developing my own ideas on the side. But what I'm kind of really interested in is a lot more. I'm actually thinking there's a lot more money to be made in small startup building. And what I mean by that is a lot of these startups. We were having friends, chats with a few guys we know who've got a company. Shout out to Legals, by the way. And they're this company that they started this. It's an app for legal advice.
Oh.
Yeah.
Cool.
And this idea that but they have no idea how to create the branding and the marketing around that because they're just guys, designers and lawyers. I mean, they're programmers and lawyers, so they don't actually know how to do the marketing behind
Yeah.
it. And I'm just like, it's such an interesting thing to be there at the beginning.
Yeah.
because like I've realized like as you're working, the guys who started like Nike, the designers who started Nike had way more creative freedom than the guys who are coming in now.
Yeah.
Because now it's a baked in.
Yeah. But Tinker could do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Tinker could do whatever the fuck he wanted.
Yeah, you want to put a see-through sole? Get the fuck
Get the fuck out of here.
Not looking at that.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Tinker just go and say to MJ, yo, leopard skin, son.
It's fucking piano suede.
Stunt on them. And then like he was like, yeah, okay. There was a lot more freedom because no one had done it before.
Yeah, we're gonna wrap it up. So, is there anything you want to plug? Any shout outs?
We didn't, I think we was still chatting about the things you were doing on the side. So
Yeah, let me actually shout out and this is kind of obligatory shout out to my wife's business. Google Sithole, Sithole, Sprout. It's a PR and marketing agency. It does mainly business building for, brand building for small businesses. So your startups, your SMEs, and your corporates. She's kind of started venturing into corporates. But yeah, her favorite thing is to help startups.
Is there a website or?
It's God. I just blanked on it.
We'll add it.
Yeah.
We'll put a little link in the
Okay,
description.
let me try and find it quickly because I wanna. But I will just do it later.
Yeah.
But let me give that a shout out. And yeah, I think that's about it. That's what I want to shout out.
Sweet.
Yeah.
It was awesome having you here.
Thank you, bro.
Some real conversations.
Hey, dude.
Like people maybe wouldn't usually discuss, but I'm glad we did.
Yeah. I think this is awesome, by the way. This is awesome. Like you were saying about how shaving the veneer off.
Yeah. That's exactly it.
Yeah.
No talks about thought leadership and we need to influence the community and stuff. It's like let's just keep it loose and drink beer and coffee.
Let's grab some beer and coffee. Maybe less coffee, more beer.
Yeah. Tequila maybe.
How can they reach us? If they want to reach us.
The World Wide Web.
The World Internet. http://
www.bleedadvertising.com.
Hey.
Yes. And at Gmail, bleedadvertising@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Instagram, it's bleed_advertising. Twitter, no one really tweets. We don't really tweet.
Yeah.
But that's bleed space advertising.
Is it a space?
I don't know.
I think it's one word. I think it's bleed advertising.
Who tweets anymore?
I don't care.
We'll fix titles.
Yeah, but and then obviously on YouTube, bleed space advertising. You can watch this, or on Spotify, bleed space advertising. On Apple Music, you find us everywhere. RSS feed.
Could you?
Yeah,
I'm
just joining right now.
Hey,
right there. You saw what happened, guys.
Yeah. 17 subscribers. Sweet.
Patreon.
Oh, Patreon.
We never talk about it.
Yeah, we never talk about Patreon, but
we need coffee.
We need to figure out how Patreon works. I think there's a thing where you have to have some bonus content or whatever. So maybe when we do that other video, that could be Patreon driver. Yeah, there we go.
Look at us figuring things out.
Well, fans only, bro. We need to get on that.
Show the screen to the camera.
There. Yeah, we go.
You see that logo?
Yes.
You see that logo?
That's the one.
That's the one. Just join.
Sweet,
but I think that's about it.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
Thanks so much.
No problem.
Thank you so much.
This has been awesome. This has really been awesome.
Yeah.
Like I thoroughly actually enjoyed this.
Yeah. Come on anytime.
Yeah.
I'm gonna come back when I've got something to plug.
There you go.
Yeah, exactly.
So just for a merciless plug, I'm just gonna jump in, just be like, this is what I'm plug, and then walk out again.
Sweet.
Nice.
Alright, man. Thank you.
Thank you.
Sweet.
Let's do it. Let's get out of here. This thing.